Hi, I'm Pam Vendetti with Neogenesis Skincare. If you're watching this right now, you most likely saw Dr. McGuire's short introductory video on some of the dangers of using topical bone marrow stem cells in your skincare. A short recap of what Dr. McGuire found is: one, bone marrow stem cells induce inflammation in the skin. Two, they increase the odds of skin cancer, and we'll be talking about this a little bit later so you can understand this better. Three, they exhaust and deplete the resident stem cells in the skin. And four, because of that exhaustion and depletion, they are very pro-aging. I'm going to go through some slides now to help you understand all of this a little bit better. I'll be sharing my screen with you. So adipose-derived stem cells are the optimal choice for healthy skin. So let's find out why. Well, first of all, what stem cells are resident in the skin? That is the adipose-derived mesenchymal stem cells. They are there 24/7 throughout your life to heal and maintain your skin. What stem cells are not resident in the skin? That would be the bone marrow mesenchymal stem cells, and they are found circulating through our blood. So some of the dangers of bone marrow stem cells: when they don't live in the skin, so they're never called upon for normal skin function. They are not needed in normal skin function. They are called in when there is a severe wound. And I am not talking about a pimple or a scrape. I'm talking about a severe wound to the skin when bone marrow stem cells are recruited from the blood to close the wound and fight infection. And they do this by a rapid increase in proliferation of cells. It's very toxic to the skin, but necessary in a severe wound. And they are very pro-inflammatory to fight infection that could be caused by that serious wound. So back in 1974, Dr. Hadal wrote that tumor production could be a possible overhealing. And this was later crystallized by Dr. Dvorak of Harvard University in 1986, where he wrote, "Tumors are wounds that do not heal." So let's discuss why this is important. The bone marrow stem cell role in a wounding event is to induce inflammation to fight infection. So here, the upper diagram, you see normal skin. You see the resident stem cells, or the adipose-derived stem cells, doing their job, taking care of little injuries to the skin, maintaining the skin, rebuilding the extracellular matrix of the skin, and they induce what is a classic M2 anti-inflammatory response. On the other hand, bone marrow stem cells are recruited from the blood. They are only used in times of severe wounding. And because it's a severe wound, what do you need? You need an increased proliferation of cells to fill in and close that wound. And it induces fibrosis or scarring. It induces a classic M1 inflammatory response to fight infection. This is an important function. It is there to save your life. It is not there to simply make your skin more beautiful. This shows the anatomy of the human skin. You'll see in normal human skin, there are no bone marrow stem cells. They do not reside there. But in wounded skin, you see bone marrow stem cells are recruited from the blood. And that can mimic a condition of the wound that never heals when you are constantly adding topical bone marrow stem cells. You're inducing that classic M1 pro-inflammatory response, and that sets up, you've got the depletion, the exhaustion of the resident stem cells, so you are literally mimicking, setting up the conditions of a wound that never heals by applying continuously topically. So that's what we see here. Bone marrow stem cells, molecules present in the skin continuously, when applied daily, mimic the conditions of a wound that never heals. Why would you want to induce inflammation and increase proliferation when your skin doesn't need that and doesn't use them for that function? Present in wounded skin are the bone marrow stem cell molecules. So wounds that do not heal have the bone marrow stem cell molecules present at all times. This continued inflammation, proliferation, and fibrosis or scarring are the hallmarks of cancer. So by applying topical products containing bone marrow stem cells continually, you're setting up that condition for cancer by continuously inducing inflammation, proliferation, and fibrosis. This paper talks about the fact that because bone marrow stem cells traverse through the blood, they will recirculate inflammatory phenotypes and cancer cells, and they recirculate them back into the bone marrow. Why is that important? So from their original site, they ride in the blood back to the bone marrow. If those recirculated cancer cells are part of the sample used, then the bone marrow stem cell molecules may include exosomes from the cancer stem cells that carry the cancer-inducing molecules. Peer-reviewed papers currently are showing that this happens far more frequently than they originally thought. Even in the best of circumstances, where bone marrow stem cell sample is scrutinized with rigorous diagnostic testing, they are finding that this is occurring. We talked about how they're exhausted. This proliferation that is increased and the exhaustion of the resident stem cells, replication exhaustion definitely creates pro-aging in the skin. Now I want to talk to you about the benefits of adipose-derived stem cells, what we know to be true from science. First of all, they protect us from oxidative stress. So oxidative stress is a situation where your free radicals outnumber the antioxidants that are there to balance them out and take care of that. So the beauty is that a lot of the proteins that are released by the adipose-derived stem cell molecules are antioxidant cascades. They are very balanced, they are very powerful, and they work in the skin to offset oxidative stress. This is where they discuss how adipose-derived stem cells protect the skin from photo damage. I like to think of it as sort of real-time healing and correction in the skin. So as you are getting the damage, these adipose-derived stem cells go to work to remodel the stem cell niche, to rebuild it while it's occurring, keeping the skin strong and protected. This particular type of aging that we're talking about is glycation. Glycation is an abnormal response to sugar. It shows up in the skin as not just fine lines and wrinkles, but deep wrinkles and crinkly skin that tends to look cross-linked. You'll see lines going both directions, crossing each other, and the skin can take on a yellow tint. Nothing has been very effective against glycation in the skin, but the adipose-derived stem cells can protect the skin from this type of aging. They also protect the skin from scarring, and they do this by the continuous remodeling and regulating of our extracellular matrix. That's where they maintain and heal the skin throughout your life. What is important about this study in particular is we're not just talking about protecting from any kind of cancer, but we're talking about adipose-derived stem cells protecting us from melanoma, the most deadly and severe form of skin cancer. This is exciting because this was not only in vitro, which is in the lab, created in a test tube or a petri dish, but in vivo, which is in the whole organism or in you. This is a lovely woman who is shown here after 34 days of using Neogenesis products twice daily, topically, and she received no treatments during this time. you can really see the rebuilding of the extracellular matrix. There is quite a difference in the look of her skin, in the structure of her skin. The fine lines and wrinkles are definitely softened and less deep as she rebuilds. So during a study, 20 subjects using topical application of the S²RM Neogenesis products twice daily resulted in a 67% decrease in wrinkles in an average period of just over 30 days. This is products alone. This is a young woman that had battled with inflammation and acne for many years, and nothing topically had worked. She applied the Neogenesis products twice daily for 7 weeks. No treatments were done, and you can see this is life-changing for her. Not only is the inflammation gone, not only there are no new acne breakouts, the congestion is gone, the scarring is starting to really diminish. But if you really look at her forehead, you can see there's a reduction in pore size and just a real overall change in the skin tone and texture of her skin. And as she uses the Neogenesis products going forward, that will continue to improve. It really changes people's lives dramatically. This shows a scar from a laser burn. The scar is quite noticeable here between the eyebrows. She stayed working with medical therapists, trying to find something that would help the scar, to no avail, unfortunately. After 1 year, she was given Neogenesis Recovery. She used Neogenesis Recovery twice daily, and this photo is taken 30 days. The photo on the right is taken 30 days after applying Recovery twice daily. That scar is virtually invisible. It is virtually undetectable and remains so to this day. Thank you so much for sticking with me today. I'd like to invite you, there will be links below, to go to those links to see a longer and more in-depth discussion about this with Dr. McGuire, talking about the dangers of applying topical bone marrow stem cells to the skin. I appreciate you staying with me. Thank you so much.